So right here, I'm starting the process of scalloping my fretboard, and it's just about digging in. It's about removing wood. That's all it's about. And right here at the 12th fret, I wanted it to be something memorable, something special. And the only design I could come up with, it kind of reminded me of Planet of the Apes. And I'm not sure why I started at the 12th fret, but I went back down to the 1st, and you just go all the way up the fretboard, and you're just scooping it out. And the bottom line is so that you can't feel the fretboard underneath your fingertips, and it feels like you're playing on air. And working on these scallops, you just kind of go Malcolm X on the thing. You know, just remove wood by any means necessary. You saw me using a drill there. I started using a chisel. Got to be careful though, because once you make a hole, you can't quite put it back. I actually drilled directly in with a drill tip, and I made a couple mistakes where I had to go back in and make an epoxy out of super glue and fine rosewood particles. It was a fine powder, kind of made it into a paste, and I kind of filled it in. You can tell I drilled in there, there's no question, but it's smooth enough to the touch. You really can't feel it. It feels great. And right here, these are the machine heads that come with the guitar. Those are going to be coming out later on, and I'll be replacing those with proper fender replacement machine heads. These ones that are on there right now, they're not precise. They go out of tune. Don't keep your strings in tune. They're junk. They just got to come out. And right here you can kind of see the guidelines that I set up to make my rasp kind of ride in between the sides there. That'll keep me from gouging up the frets themselves, and it'll give me a nice precise scoop. And my SOP when it comes to pickups is I either replace them or I dip them in wax to get rid of the microphonic feedback. Since I'm going to be using this mostly in studio, feedback is usually not an issue for me, and I prefer getting feedback in the right tones and all that kind of stuff. So leaving these pickups wide open is going to give me all the tone that I want. Where I won't have to mess with any much on the front end of the amp or anything to get that nice crisp tone that I like out of the Strat. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to wire up all three of these pickups here into the very bottom potentiometer, because my pinky tends to bump into that potentiometer right there, which is usually the volume control, which will turn it up and down on me, which I don't want to happen while I'm playing, obviously. So I'm going to rewire all three of those pickups into the 5-way switch, then down into the bottom potentiometer where my pinky will have no opportunity to bump it and turn it up and down. And in the end, it should be straight tone right from the pickups pretty much to the output. No resistance, no impedance of any kind. The tone itself should be hot as hell. There's not going to be any wax in the pickups. The tone in the end should be pretty fucking hot, like Eddie Van Halen type, sizzling, smoking type tone. And here he is. He's got the tailpiece out. I wanted to get all that out of there. I wanted to clean it out. Ultimately, in the end anyway, I'll be replacing all of the saddles. So all that stuff had to come out anyhow. I needed to purchase a tremolo bar for the tremolo system, and there you can see I got the springs lined out in the back. this time around with this Strat, I wanted a floating tremolo system. In the past, I've always had them locked down completely for stage, because on stage, if you break a string with a floating tremolo system, the entire guitar goes out of tune. And seeing as how this guitar I intend on mostly being for studio stuff, I'm not too worried about breaking strings. And here's the first tremolo bar I bought. My guitar did not come with one, so I had to buy that separate. Not the right one, but ultimately I got the right tremolo bar, and she's in there today. You'll see later. And here I am actually removing the old saddles, and they are just bionic chrome-plated junk. And here is the stock machine heads that come with the guitar. And this guitar is truly a full overhaul. Paid $130 for this guitar. Stock guitar as it is, plays sounds fine, but the proof is in the details. The machine heads, the new saddles, they make all the difference. It's the difference between me being able to do a whammy dive and the guitar staying in tune. That's pretty important to me. I like my guitar to be in tune. And here she is before I turned even one screw on her. She sounds great, but again, the proof's in the details. Trippy. Planet of the Apes. Get your hands off me, you damn dirty ape! Grind down smooth the binding edge, because it's going to cut up my hand as I'm sliding up and down the fretboard. And right here I'm explaining how the raised edges on the very sides of the frets, as I'm playing up and down the fretboard, they're kind of sharp. So I'm going to have to go over each of the frets, the very edges, the binding there, if you'd call it that, and take down the sharp edges of the frets with emery cloth. And right there, still working on the frets themselves, and just still any which way I can, I'm just removing material. And it looks like at that point I am done with most of the deep scalloping. I have not yet gotten to the fret markers, which came as a surprise, a complete accident. And again, I'm Malcolm Xing the scallops here. I'm just removing material. Right there I'm using a rasp. I actually have the rasp pointing in into a drill, and I'm just going to town. Let me shoot this real quick, hang on. And like I said, the fret markers, they kind of developed as a surprise. You might be able to tell what happened there, how I turned the maple into fret markers. I call it shark tooth. It's not an inlay, but I use the maple that's right underneath that rosewood. You can see it right there. And sorry, folks, I don't really have a grand finale, flashy show off for you or anything like that. I was so tired from making the thing, I really didn't care anymore. See you, folks.